What's going on, everybody? We're on a Saturday night, and we're having a little Google One chat. Got my buddy Dan here, and thought I'd check in and see I'm a little bit in a remote location around Dan. I don't know if you can see in my background. I'm out here, kind of far from where I normally am. I'm broadcasting from a different office today.
I'm at a comedy improv stage.
I thought that was a fireplace behind you, but I see now it's a stage setup. You practice your act.
I just want to start off by saying Happy Star Wars Day.
Oh, that's right. It's the May 4th. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. May the 4th.
Yeah.
I don't have many Star Wars gear on, but I had gotten text messages earlier today.
Yeah.
Did you do anything for the May the 4th? Or May the 4th?
No.
How big of a Star Wars fan are you? Like, are you big or are you like, I'm kind of casual. What about you?
I'm a little more than casual, but I'm not like super nerdy about it. Or I have geeked out a few times over it. But it's usually the older trilogy or like the cartoons that they have, like the Rebels and Clone Wars and those ones.
Have you ever seen the Star Wars Holiday Special?
No.
Really, you've never seen that?
No.
You gotta check it. You gotta check it out one day. Like one day, I'll send you the teleparty and we can watch it together, man. Because it's worth watching. You know, it's pretty hilarious. It's pretty bad, but I'm sort of a connoisseur for like bad movies. And
oh yeah,
that's not a bad movie, but it's like a bad TV special. I think is what it was. And it's got like this kind of like 70-ish kind of vibe to it, like a VHS vibe to it. Pretty funny.
Yeah, I remember we used to have a lot of fun watching just real horrible kung fu movies and stuff like that. Like that one, what was that? Ricky O or something.
Yeah, The Legend of Ricky O, I think.
Yeah, that one was a crazy one. And then when I worked at that pawn shop, I used to get all those imported movies like that, and we would watch them over at your apartment when we all lived in that ghetto ass apartments.
I remember those. The best thing about those apartments were there was a taco truck across the street that had some frijoles a la charro.
Oh yeah,
charro beans.
Oh, they had the best green sauce in the world too.
Yeah,
and they give it to you the little baggies that they just tie a knot and you have to bite it.
It's like a thing of crack, yeah, like a knot. No, yeah, man, and I actually miss the Mexican food from that area because I'm out here in a different area, like the Sonoran Desert, and it's a different style of Mexican food. So it's weird because you go to like a restaurant and you order stuff, but it's like totally different from what I remember from like that area. And so it's just strange because it's the same dish, but it's made a different way, or just something about it's different. And I just like, oh man, I'm hankering for some of those taco trucks. Like, and they were like back then when we were living in that area, like they were on every street corner, and you could just like get like tacos for like $1.50, $1, and it was crazy. And now I can't find food like that. So
yeah, you can
enjoy it while you can.
You can be at the bar, get out at 2:00 and drive down South Ritchie or something, and you would find like 4 taco trucks open, and you'd be like, "This is gonna hit the spot." I remember there's this bus, the big yellow bus at the corners, over there, and me and Rudy used to go to Scout Bar, and they would have like $5 pitchers of Shiner, so we'd go and drink Shiner all night, and then leave the bar fucked up, and then be like, "Man, I'm hungry," and we would drive all the way from Scout Bar to where that taco truck is just to be able to get some of those tacos, because it was one of those ones that give you the free charro beans.
Yeah, like a little complimentary appetizer kind of thing.
Yeah, and they were like, they would give you that healthy sweat because they were spicy enough, and then you would put the green sauce and make it even more spicy. And then
I was to say, yeah, I would usually add the sauce.
Yeah.
I actually still do that a lot with soups and stuff. I tend to add like a little bit of like at the cafeteria at the building where I work at, they have a soup of the day, and sometimes it's not so great, but sometimes they're pretty good. And but they'll have like Tabasco or Cholula out on the table. and I'll usually do a few drops of either one of them into. Because I just like that it gives the broth even just like a little bit of a kick.
Well, Texas, they have a lot of interesting. Not, I don't even want to say interesting. It's the best kinds of food. Like our Mexican is the best. But then I went to North Carolina, and this was like right in the middle of the pandemic, and they had just let us fly on planes without a mask on. It was like the day after they took that away. So I went to North Carolina, and let me tell you, trying to check my vaccination status everywhere, and like just to go into a Subway or something, I'm like, whoa, I wasn't prepared for this. I just came from Texas. We're the
Yeah.
Wild West over there. We don't give a shit about anything, man.
We just give a middle finger to everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't give a shit about what y'all are saying. Like I just want to get into Waffle House and get some waffles, and I have to show you my card, and I'm like, fuck that. But we went into a barbecue place, and I was like, hell yeah, I want some barbecue. And it was not the fucking thing. It was they're more of a pork based, like ours is
Oh
beef,
yeah.
and then their barbecue sauce is real
Like
watery.
saucy, right? Yeah. Like, well, I've heard it's
Yeah,
more like a roux or like a sauce.
and their coleslaw was just like, I don't even know if that's officially coleslaw. Like, what did you just serve me? This is not what I asked for. Please take it back.
Yeah.
But it was weird. It did. Uh, the people who who got married that I went to the wedding, like in our little gift bags for going to the wedding, like we got a North Carolina barbecue sauce and a Texas barbecue sauce in little jars
That's
because
crazy.
it was like the two had come together to form.
Oh, okay. It's like the little gift, or I mean, the little joke
Yeah,
of the gift. I know.
yeah.
I know one thing I also miss about some of those Mexican restaurants is I know there were some that were open like close to 24 hours. Or I remember like what was it, Taqueria Rondas, I remember, and a couple other ones, but I remember that I swear they were closed maybe like I don't even know why they did this. They closed for like maybe like 1 hour a night.
Uh-huh.
They were closed like just long enough to like mop the floors, it seemed like, and then like all of a sudden they were open again. Because I always thought they were open like 24 hours, but I think I remember being at one like at 3 or 4 in the morning, if you can believe it, and like it being closed and being like surprised that it was closed.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, and I'm always thought like, why don't they just go ahead and bite the bullet and just like make it 24 hours things? But now that I'm saying that out loud, one thing I do, I guess, appreciate is that they like closed the mop because I've been to places before. I've never been to places before where like, and I think it usually happens because the employees are like impatient to close, like the closing employees. They start like mopping while you're still out there, like
Yeah,
in the lobby or whatever, eating. And man,
yeah,
there's like some places where it's like real strong, like ammonia smell or like fabuloso smell, and they're like mopping right next to you, and they're not. I know they're not supposed to do that, but I sometimes struggle with that because it's like, well, I am kind of asking for it because I'm here late at night and stuff. Like, and it's like, at a certain point, like I sometimes feel like I'm always constantly pointing at all the injustice of the world and all the unfair things, and it's like, what? It's like I need to give it a rest, man, because I'm like tired of like carrying the weight of the world. I just need to like look the other. I just need to look the other way,
You're gonna become one of those social justice warriors. Like,
No, I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, just still, like, I want to tell some of these, especially like these fast food employees or like anybody that's like, hey, man, I've worked fast food before, so it's like you're not gonna pull one over on me, man.
I get it. I get it.
I know what it's like, man. I know what it's like when you want to get out of there quick and you're cutting all these corners and you got almost everything clean until like right when you close, the last customer's out, then you got just a little bit left and you're waiting on the person to cash out the register and you're like trying to get out of there quick. I get it.
That's why I don't understand them trying to hike the minimum wage so high at like fucking McDonald's or whatever. I mean, that those jobs were never meant to be, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. Even go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that I didn't have anything else after that.
I was gonna say even when I worked those type of jobs, it was to me it was like like I always liked being competitive. So to me it was like I don't know. I always felt like I had to take the jobs more seriously than other people. Because I figured like, what's the point of like being up here if you're like I could see if you have something else going on, but at a certain point, I just kind of like figure like, well, whatever I'm gonna do, I'm gonna like do it really well. And
Yeah,
I would work with people, and like at first it was kind of cute when I was like, I don't know, like when I worked at Dairy Queen, I was like 16 years old. You know, it was kind of fun. Like we would just like goof off and go drinking after work or whatever. Or like not when I was 16, but I was hanging
yeah,
out with those people. Um, but it was like it was like fun to be kind of a slacker. But then as I get older, it's like I don't know, it's not as fun and it's not as cute, I guess, when you get older. And then I started to like enjoy like out competing for like not just against other people, but just competing with myself. And like I sort of started to have the mentality of that, if you're gonna be stuck someplace for a few hours, you might as well like make use of that time. You might as well like learn what you're doing, because if you learn what you're doing, you can like be better for yourself if you like get good at your job.
yeah,
But I remember seeing people all the time when I worked at these, retail places or fast food places, that there's always people that like always wanted to give away their shifts, and like we're always trying to get out early, or like they would close and you would check the floor and it's like, man, they didn't do anything last night, man. Like I don't know if you ever remember that, like the morning crew always get mad at the closing crew because the closing crew
oh
didn't do their
yeah,
job.
yeah. I didn't have a whole lot of jobs like that. I think I had one job at Jack in the Box that was like that, but I didn't work there very long.
How long were you there?
I think 6 months, and then like 3 of the months that I was there, I was like one leave because
Why'd you?
I had like a surgery
Oh,
and
okay.
I couldn't go back. So and then I came back and I was like, man, this really fucking sucks. And then one day, like 4 people quit, and they're like, I need you to work a double, and I was like, no, thank you. So
The
I fucking
domino effect, man.
yeah, I was like, this is y'all are asking me to do nothing. I don't even want to be a part of it. I was like, this is a minimum wage job. I can go across the street to Burger King and I can fucking start there, and I don't have to do what y'all shit.
Yeah,
So
I know. I kind of that's one of the nice things about those kind of like jobs. There's like low not low expectation, but there's low barrier to entry. So it's like easy, like you said, like yeah, I'm gonna go to Burger King across the street.
yeah,
And
yeah,
there is something nice about that, because it's nice to just feel free all the time, to feel like to feel that freedom, to know that you don't even have to get prepared to quit a job. Like you can
yeah,
just at the spur of the moment just like quit a job if you want to. Like I think that's probably a lot of people's dreams. Isn't that like what a lot of people dream about whenever they like win the lottery, go into their
oh,
job and like quit and stuff?
I have it planned out. I have it planned out. I'm gonna go rent a fuck, or maybe even buy fuck it a helicopter, and I'm gonna get my work truck and I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna fly it over to my shop and just let it go on the fucking front.
It's gonna land and all the shocks are gonna like bounce and everything.
Yeah,
The
and then
blow a
it's
bunch
just
of
gonna be
dust everywhere.
like I quit spray painted on the side, and then I'll like go in there and be like, oh, I just had to do that. I'm sorry, because they're pretty good people. I wouldn't.
What if you tried to do something cute like that and you accidentally hurt somebody, and like plot twist, you ended up spending the rest of your life in like prison after winning the lottery?
Fuck that.
That'd
Fuck
be
that.
a pretty interesting story, but I don't think you want to live that in real life.
No, thank you.
I was actually doing some cleaning earlier today, man. I'm trying to like, oh, it's such a pain because I know I should be like putting away all like the winter clothes and like just doing, I guess, what you call spring cleaning. But man, it's just, you ever like know you need to get something, but like the weekend comes and it's just easier to just avoid it. It's easier to just like leave the house and go shopping somewhere, or go like last weekend I went camping and like stuff like that. And it's like, easier just to leave the house. But like eventually at a certain point, I'm like, okay, like I gotta like put away these like winter jackets. I gotta like put away some of this other stuff. I gotta like switch out stuff I've been wanting. It's just a lot of stuff, and it's like I tried to do that today, and I literally like I worked for about 30 minutes, and I took a break, and that break, man, ended up lasting like 2 hours.
I know how
I
that
got
is.
I got back onto it, but it's like, geez, man, it's like, but it's like it's hard because you get distracted. It's like the weekend, and it's like I feel like I'm working all week, and I'm like, and normally on the weekends I'm like doing stuff, so I like had the urge to like want to leave the house again, and I did for a little while, but I forced myself to like, okay, like I got to go back home and like I got to do
Yeah,
what I've been telling myself I'm gonna do.
yeah. I've spent this whole week cleaning out all my dad's stuff and going through everything, and it's just fucking brutal all week.
Yeah,
Cleaning, cleaning. But we got through it. I did a lot, so
oh that's good. Yeah,
yeah,
you normally like clean pretty regularly.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
I was working when I was younger. I was like I think as I got older, I started to see this like number one, if you like don't excuse me. Well, first off, don't do like what I did today, like stop and take a break. But one
No,
hack that I did pick up though, and I picked this up from my dad, coincidentally. Uh, before my dad passed away, I remember one thing he kind of like put into me was like the idea of like getting like work clothes and like work clothes, like clothes that you can like work in. Like it almost gives you a sense of like it's okay to get dirty. It's okay to like tear up your clothes. It's like you have clothes meant to like
right.
take a beating. And
Yeah,
ever since then, I've always like, even though he's not here anymore, I've always like tried to keep like a Dickies suit or something and like some work boots. That way, like when I know like I want to like okay, like it's time to like do like some serious cleaning or something, like I change into like my work clothes, and it's like it's something to me about like mentally it like changes me where it's like okay, like now I have no excuse to like be getting all grimy and dirty and like you know getting on hands and knees and like scrubbing stuff. And but I think ultimately though, it was really like his work ethic and like what he believed in that he passed on to me.
yeah. My dad did stuff like that too. Like he had he had the work clothes thing, but he also had he used to say like I'd get up and I'd go be wearing my I'd have still have pajamas on or something. He's like, hey, go with me to the store. I'm like, okay, let me just put my shoes on. He's like, no, let's put some clothes on. I'm like, no, we'll just go to the store. We'll be right back. He's like, put some clothes on. You don't ever want to leave the house looking like that. You never know who you're gonna meet out in the world. And
Yeah,
you're gonna be in your pajamas like with a fucking Kool-Aid stain on your shirt.
yeah,
He's like, just put decent clothes on when you go so you're going to in public. He's like, if you're working on a car and you got to go to O'Reilly's or something, wear your dirty work clothes. Who cares?
yeah,
But like if you're going like out to where people are congregating, let's just put some nicer clothes on, clothes that are clean looking. And
yeah.
so that's just something he used to tell me all the time.
No, and that's good advice too, because I think also, especially with like the pajama thing, because I think there is a difference. I don't think it's just about like you say, it's like there's if you leave the house and you're like dirty and work clothes, it sends a different message than if you leave the house in your pajamas, because the pajama seems like it gives the impression that you're like sleeping, haven't gotten out of bed all day, and then it gives like,
Yeah.
and it also like they're also kind of like youngish, childish looking, like I have some like Ninja Turtle pajamas that like I wear here, like if I'm just chilling, but like if I go to like the freaking doctor's office or something, like I'm gonna look like hella weird, like some Ninja Turtle pajamas, and maybe no one will say anything, but I just like as I've gotten older, I'm like, that's it's some things are like okay and when you're comfortable around the house, but like your dad said, you never know who you're gonna encounter, and
Yeah.
you just want to put yourself in the habit of like at least setting like minimum standard for yourself. I know I ran into one time I ran into this is at an old job before in an old city I used to live in, but I ran into a lady who was like a coworker, but I happened to live like really far away from. I wasn't working at that place anymore, but she lived really far away also. So I don't think she ever thought she would run into somebody like that she knew from work. And I was walking around at Kroger one time, and I saw her, and I remember like you said that she was at Kroger and she was like in pajamas and she was like at a hoodie and she had like no makeup on and she had her hair and she was like wearing like flip flops and just looked like like really like just stepped out of the house and I was just like just casually like, hey, how's it going? Like how you do the
Yeah,
stop and chat, the meet and greet or whatever kind of thing.
yeah.
But I could tell the whole time that like I just her body language is like she was like uncomfortable with me like running into her that way. So like I kind of picked up on that and I was just like, all right, well I'll see you later. And I made it like a real short, like almost like a drive by stop and chat, And
I fuck, I
that's
fucking
why I'm
hate
always careful about that. Yeah.
I fucking hate running into people like that. I hate it. It's just so awkward. And I'm weird. I'm fucking weird. I have something social about me that's not right. And
Weird in
when
what
I
way?
like I might have a little bit of autism, autistic. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
I don't know, man. My daughter's got it. Like you could tell that she's got it. And
How,
we tested her and they were like, yeah, definitely. And she's got ADHD. Makes a lot of sense, Edric.
hmm. Well, like, how do you, what is it that you think that you picked up on that you do? Or,
Oh, just the way my brain. So I know I definitely have probably ADHD. Because normally I've finished the conversation me and you are having like 6 times in the amount of time that we're just finishing one sentence. And I'm like, I know where we're gonna go, but sometimes it's like it doesn't go that way. But I figured it out, and then I'm like, I'm already like 2 steps ahead. I'm trying to say the next thing, and I'm like, Dan, you're being rude.
yeah,
So if you ever see me like doing this, it's not. I'm not trying to be
you're trying
rude.
to pull the horses back in.
I'm just trying to pull back in, and it's a negative thing for me because I've learned to rein it in, like you said, pull the horses back. But I just it's like my mind's going a mile a minute over here, and it's just and
Yeah.
then it's like just reactions to stuff is weird. Um, Awkwardness and anxiety is like usually way up here. Um, but like I've said, I've learned to rein it in and be the fine, upstanding citizen you see these before you.
I don't know if but I think one thing I noticed is like I used to always tell people that I like daydream a lot, but I like never really noticed like how much I daydream till I really start to think about it. And I notice sometimes that like I'll be doing something and I'll be watching something and then I'll be like thinking about something else that I'm working on like on the side. And it's like, and then I start working on that, and then I like start thinking about something else. I start thinking about writing. I start writing stuff, and then I start thinking about like, you know, I don't know, just like it's like which one thing is good is like having like your phone or having anything like that you can do like a Google search with. Like, yeah, that really works well to me because like anytime I think of stuff, I can like just indulge myself and like search it. But I notice that I daydream a lot, and I think like, yeah, I don't know, like my daydreams are pretty awesome, man. And it's like I can entertain myself for a long time. And I remember even when I was a little kid, I remember that I used to, man, when I was really young, I used to stay with my grandmother during the day, and I used to tell her that it was too loud, that I couldn't think, or I couldn't concentrate. And so she like made one of the rooms in her house. She like set it aside. She had like a bed in there. And she like told me that it was like my room to go in there and think, or anytime I wanted to be quiet. And so they all kind of thought it was a joke, but my grandma kind of like she you know supported me in it. And I remember one time like I went in there and I was in there laying down. I was a little kid now. I even had like a freaking bottle and everything. And I remember I was in there for like I don't know, like an hour, maybe an hour or two. And like somebody checked on me, and I was like laying on my back with a bottle, and I just like looked over because I was just laying there, and they were all like, "What the hell?" They were like, "He's still awake. He's just awake in there," because they thought I was like asleep or whatever, and I'm just in there just like chilling. So I think I've always been like a type of person that can like entertain myself with like daydreaming and just like I don't want to say meditating, but I think like just like circulating my own thoughts or just like
Yeah.
being by myself. And I think sometimes it comes across to some people like I don't think people really think of me as shy, but I think sometimes people think that I'm like reserved, and I guess I kind of am. But um, honestly, it's like my internal dialogue is sometimes like pretty interesting, and
Some people don't have that. Some people
yeah,
don't have a voice in their head, but it's it's crazy. Because do you listen to audiobooks?
sometimes. But I have a hard time with listening to people read to me because I'm like I'm a like visually I'm like a here I'm gonna sound like I'm just like flexing on that line. I can usually read pretty fast, like by by sight, reading by sight, and I feel like listening to audiobooks is like too slow for me. So it's like
Oh no.
it makes me like the way you were saying earlier, it makes me like want to like rush ahead, and I have a hard time with it.
I have a hack for you on that one.
Where you put an audiobook at like double speed or something. So like
It's too much, man. It's too much to. Sometimes they read real slow, and I'm like, dude, this is fucking taking forever. So I think I speed it up to 1.5 times the normal speed, and they're just like cruising along, and then like I'll just start thinking that's fucking normal, and then someone like gets in my car, they're like, "Why you listen to this book so fast?" I'm like, I just can't.
it
I
sounds like
can't
you're
take.
it sounds like you're fast forwarding a cassette tape that the little sound or like the micro machines guy, the old micro machines guy.
Exactly. And they're like, dude, how do you even comprehend what I was like? Well, the normal speed is like this says it's a 25-hour book. This guy, I don't know if he's gonna make that time limit, you know?
Well, it's like even like on YouTube sometimes like I'm always like wasting so much time like watching things on YouTube. Uh and like but whenever actually you need information, it always seems like it's hard to like freaking like I don't know how to explain it, but like I was like trying to change out the filter on a tea kettle, like electric tea kettle I had, and
Uh-huh.
I wasn't sure how to change it out. So I said, okay, I'll just do a search for it. And I started doing searches for like the type of tea kettle I have. And there was all these videos, but like the videos are like they're like so like I don't know, the guys, the people introducing them, they're like, hey, welcome to my channel. Da, 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 da. It's like all this stuff, and it's like I want to go straight to like what I need, but you gotta like sit there and like indulge the person because it's there. And I get it because I kind of do the same thing. I mean, but
Yeah.
it's just tough though because it's like you don't really notice it when you're just like goofing off and channel surfing on YouTube, but when you actually need some info, it's like I get impatient, and I think the same thing happens whenever I'm in a rush to get somewhere, or I feel like I need to be somewhere by like a certain hard start time or something,
Hmm.
then I get impatient at every like stoplight. Like I get like it makes me feel like I'm sitting there for a long time, and I'm like more annoyed by people taking a long time to turn and things like that. Whereas like if I'm not in a rush to get anywhere or anything, it's just like doesn't bother me. So I think a lot of it is that if you're actually need something, it just makes you a little impatient.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had to when I first started uh working on ACs, man, I use fucking YouTube. Like I'd be on a job and I'd have to figure something out. I'm like, man, I cannot figure this out. I'd Google, how do you check this? And then it would like come up. And I'd like to I'd like to thank YouTube for getting me through my AC school, not my school. YouTube taught me way more than that school ever taught me.
Honestly, I know people like they like to put a lot of emphasis on knowing things, but there's actually something to be said for like not knowing a lot, not knowing too many things. Because, and let me know if I go too far off the reservation on this one, but like when you don't know too many things, you're like you have to work efficiently, so you only like learn things that you as you need them.
Right.
You're not wasting your time learning things that you're never gonna use.
Yeah, like some of the stuff that they try to teach us in school is literally not in use anymore.
Yeah.
Like refrigerants, they try to teach us. They try to teach us pneumatics. Nobody's using pneumatics. anymore except for hospitals. Um, just a bunch of excuse me, just a bunch of stuff that's just pointless that I had to go through just to get to where I am now. And most of the stuff I learned in the field or from, like I said, from YouTube.
Yeah.
I learned some stuff from school. I'm not gonna lie.
No, yeah. I mean,
I,
I'm going. Sorry, go ahead.
I know I learned how to freak out over a test. I'm a horrible test taker. I've never been a good test taker. Like I'll know everything. I'll study, and then the test. This is another thing with how my brain works is I'll study, not study, and then the test gets in front of me, and all of a sudden my mind will just go completely blank on everything that I've studied, and I'll have it down. And like we had to learn how to tie 10 different knots, and I didn't study those knots one time in the 5 years I was at that school, and then we had to do them again at the end. And so the night before, I spent all instead of studying for the rest of the test, I just studied knots the entire time because I needed to know those knots. I knew everything else. I learned
Yeah.
everything else from just working what I do. So I was pretty confident, but it was just those knots. I hadn't tied knots. They have a joke that if you can't tie a knot, just tie a lot.
Just make a big ass mess of a cluster of string, and tie them, pull them a bunch of different directions.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I know that I've never really been too bothered by tests. I think I do pretty well on tests. I think the probably my biggest weakness is the daydreaming. You know, like I like wanting to like think about other things while like and I not to excuse it, but I also pick up on when I listen to other people when I daydream. I sort of have like thought about it, and I've one thing is also is that whenever you're talking, whenever you're speaking, you're like you have a connection with the person who's like listening. So the person who's like listening has to use some of their brain power in order to take the things that you say and like create an image in their mind or create like an idea in their mind.
Uh-huh.
And whenever you kind of abuse that, whenever you talk a lot and you force a person to use a lot of their brain power, like people's brains have like this sort of defense mechanism where if they're not getting enough value out of what you're saying, that they'll shut down and they'll start to like daydream or think about other things. So it kind of like as I've gone through life, it's forced me to like take a look at like the way I communicate with people and like just be aware that like whenever you start rambling too much, like it's if you're not giving that the value that people want or that people need to make the images in their mind, that you're going to lose people's interest.
Yeah.
But man, it's been great catching up with you, man. Would you be down to do some other Google chats in the future?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can get some Discord chats going on too, and then maybe we can do more than two people, more in a group. And then I also want to try to see. I know you got some stuff going on your end, but I also want to try to see if we can do some teleparties. I haven't figured out yet how to like include like the YouTube viewing audience or the audience for anywhere if I post these, but I think it's a pretty fun experience. I know I've done it before. I don't know if you went to one of those teleparties or watch parties with me before, but when you find like something that's pretty fun to watch, it's a pretty fun experience. And I've been trying to figure out how to bring this to the viewing audience here on YouTube, but I'm still kind of working on it. And for the time being, I think I might, we can check in with each other, or check in with other friends and other people we know, and maybe do some reaction videos here and there. And then if I get a chance, if it doesn't get too hot this summer, I'll get out there and do some field reporting. Maybe see if I can bring back some footage that we can take a look at. And I was actually going to go to the zoo, but then I remembered that going to the zoo around this time of year out here, not really a great experience. I remember going one time in the summer, and the majority of the animals are like not out in sight because they're like staying hidden in like their little caves or whatever because it's so hot. They're sleeping. They're sleeping during the day most of the time, so there's not a whole lot of activity. So it's probably not going to be. Maybe come the fall, I can go walk around the zoo or walk around the other one. The other thing I've been thinking about is maybe the botanical garden or the arboretum. They've got some pretty cool exhibits, and maybe the aquarium. So
They have,
I
they
don't
have a
know.
place. They have a place out here in Waco that you can swim with otters.
Oh wow. I wonder if you can. There's our GoPros, are they waterproof? Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Yeah, you can get if they're not, they sell cases that go like
Um,
you drop GoPros in the fucking
the
lake,
river,
and
yeah,
people
yeah.
will fucking go down there and get them.
Because I think that made me kind of interesting. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna do it, but I think if someone were willing to wear a GoPro and swim with otters or whatever, I
I
definitely.
remember, I remember I went to the zoo one time, and otters were not my favorite animal in the world. And then I like saw the otter exhibit at the zoo, and it was just these otters just and it was like the tank show. You could on the side of the tank you could see the otters swimming underwater and above water, and they would just be playing with each other, and they would be doing wrestling moves with each other off of rocks into the water, swimming and doing all this good. And then there was that day that I was just like, you know what, I think I like otters more than any animal on the
Have you
planet.
ever seen? I think it's called a giant river otter.
Yeah,
Those things are supposed to be like really like dangerous and really mean.
yeah, the uh, they're rapey.
I
They're
didn't
very
pick that up from
no,
the.
they're very rapey animals, and they murder their young. Certain otters. I like the little cute ones that want to play and cuddle. Those ones
Right,
that,
but you're saying like they sexually assault each other?
yeah, very rapey.
Wow, I didn't know that. Like, yeah, I think I've seen actually koalas do
Can,
something similar.
can we say rapey?
I don't know. You might get me banned from YouTube. I don't know. Hopefully not. But um, no. Well, it's sort of like koalas do the same thing. Koalas like they have uh society set up to where this is crazy. I remember seeing the documentary. I think it was on Netflix about koalas, and like with the one like alpha koala has complete breeding rights with all the females. So all the females are like part of his harem, and
Uh-huh.
like all the other male koalas are just like ass out, and it shows that like they spend the majority of their time trying to like sneak into like that area and like force themselves on the female koalas,
Holy
and
shit.
the female koalas will start screaming, and the alpha will come over and beat up that one that's like snuck in or whatever. So it's like a constant game of like the one alpha has like complete rule over that little kingdom, and all the females and all the other like beta koalas are trying to sneak in and trying to like dethrone them basically, by taking all the females.
Yeah. And don't they all have chlamydia?
Um, there I don't know. It sounds like they might. Sounds like
I
they
think
might.
I think all koalas have chlamydia or something. I'm not
Shame on
sure.
them. Shame
Shame.
on them.
Wrap it up, bro. Wrap
Yeah,
it up.
no. Well, speaking of wrap it up though, man, it's been great catching up with you, man. We don't want to make this too long, but you know,
Exactly.
but maybe in the future we'll be able to check in again. And once again, Dan, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it, and hopefully we can do this again sometime soon. And maybe we can bring in some other people or some other footage that we can take a look at. So,
Hell
but
yeah.
until then, man, it's been great, and we're gonna sign off now.
All
So,
right.
everybody, thanks for coming on, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right.